Dear ones, we are the members of your Pleiadian family. Some of you who will read this message may be wondering why you have been experiencing challenges, and/or fears. On the other hand, some of you maybe have a wonderful day. However, if you can realize that your state of consciousness has a great deal to do with your own inner self, you will feel more in control of the situation. Then any fears or angers can be perceived, not as a bad day, but as a personal challenge to adjust your state of consciousness into a higher sense of your own self. In this manner, you will have a better chance of becoming the master of your emotions. Being the master of your emotions does not mean that you do not feel difficult emotions such as fear, anger, confusion, etc. Being the master of your emotions usually means that you take a moment to find a way to leave that difficult situation and go inside to have a talk with yourself. It is in this manner that you can become the master of your emotions. What we mean by being the master of your emotions, is that you are the master of your emotions and your emotions are not the master of you. Your emotions are messages to your brain that are telling you what your body and mind are really feeling, instead of what they should be feeling. Emotions are neither good nor bad, emotions are messages from your mind and your body. If you see that the gasoline gauge is very low, you do not need to be upset. You have a choice to say, okay, getting gasoline comes first. Or, you can become angry and upset with yourself, or even upset with a car that now you have to get gasoline. Once you have a state of mastery over your emotions, you will begin to realize that emotions are a nonverbal way that your body, and/or your mind, can give you important information. If one has gained some mastery over their emotions, they can be perceived as bringers of important information. Your body does not speak English, or whatever your primary language is. However, your body does speak emotions. If you allow yourself to be non-reactive to your emotions, and listen carefully, you will greatly expand your sense of self and your interactions with your daily life. Then you will feel much stronger and more in control of your reality. It is helpful if you are able to choose to believe that you chose to experience your emotions because they give you important information. For example, the emotion of fear has a purpose of preparing you to expand your consciousness, and then focus on your vision and hearing in a clearer and more directed manner. In fact, fear will direct your attention to something that you may not have noticed before. Then, if there is danger, your vision, hearing, and body are ready to totally focus on that situation. We bring this topic up today because your reality is ready to expand more and more beyond the limitations of the third-dimensional daily life, and into the greater focus, courage and alignment with your fourth-dimensional reality. We, your Pleiadian family, are telling you to perceive fear as a message instead of an enemy. Yes, if there is actually an enemy, then fear will prepare your body for battle. On the other hand, sometimes you may experience fear when you perceive, and/or come into contact with something that is very different. If you allow yourself to react, rather than focus on the situation, you may misjudge what is occurring and create a difficult situation rather than an important situation. We, your Pleiadian family, are giving you this information to prepare you for the increased sightings of our starships that you may be having, or have already had. Some people may look directly at one of our starships and choose not to perceive it, even when others may be saying, "Hey, look! There is a starship." We, your Pleiadian family, want you to know that we are here to assist you during the extremely challenging now of preparing the humans of Earth for our first landings. Of course, we Pleiadians have been landing on Earth for longer than you could remember, but we always remained cloaked. However, now we wish to tell you that if you see a cloud that looks like a starship, it is actually a starship that is cloaked to look like a cloud. There have increasingly been television shows and movies about our landing that are not based on fear. For that we are very grateful. The fact that humanity is now able to talk about starships and galactic beings with curiosity rather than fear, is also a sign that humanity is beginning to awaken to the fact that Earth is not the only planet that has life forms. In fact, we can perceive by our different manners of observing Earth that more and more humans are becoming increasingly ready to accept that fact that, not only are there other planets that are inhabited, but many beings from these planets look very humanoid, and are members of Earthling's galactic family. Why don't you land now? We hear you ask. The answer is because there is not yet a high enough percentage of humans who would be able to welcome us with light and love. In fact, they would instead shoot up bombs, which would only fall back to Earth and destroy their own planet. As those of you who are awake know, Gaia has many planetary health issues, which are about 99% caused by humanity. We, your galactic family, do not want to frighten you, but we will not allow Gaia to be destroyed by the very inhabitants of her body. If you have not noticed, Gaia has been quite upset lately, because she is having more and more difficulty recovering from the deep wounds that humanity has left on, around and inside, her planetary body. It is the now for humanity to expand their collective consciousness into the higher fourth and fifth dimensions. Once you feel that you have moved into a higher frequency of consciousness, which allows you to have a more empowered sense of your self-worth, your sense of self will become increasingly fourth dimensional. With fourth dimensional self-esteem, you will feel more creative, confident, and able to explore the next frequency of reality. Yes, there are different versions of the same realities that can only be perceived by humans via different frequencies of consciousness. As an example, you may go to the same workplace Monday through Friday. However, Monday and Tuesday may be wonderful days in which you feel you have contributed to the whole in a positive way. You may feel that you have been noticed and appreciated. On these days, your consciousness can more easily perceive higher frequencies of reality. However, on a different day, you may experience a very different version of that same reality. You may be easily distracted, and/or have difficult confrontations with your boss or fellow workers. This would be a day in which your frequency of consciousness is much lower. You may even allow yourself to become the victim to that day. What is wrong with everyone? You may ask. Or, you could realize that this was a day in which your state of consciousness dropped and you were unable to create a peak experience for yourself. It is your state of consciousness that directs your perceptual field. When you are having a bad day and your state of consciousness is lower third dimensional, you will even have difficulty focusing on your drive home from work. You will then walk in, slam the door, ignore your spouse, push away your children who want to hug you, and get a drink. On that day, in that state of consciousness, you do not even see your spouse or your children. Obviously, you would not see one of our starships. However, if you have had a great day and feel good about yourself, you will drop off to pick up what you know your family needs, and walk in the door with a smile, hugs, kisses and the treat for the kids, and the launder that needed to be picked up from the cleaners. On that day, you will see our starship. In fact, you will rush home and take your family to exact place that you saw our ship and happily share your experience. Take me aboard. The children will happily cry. Not yet, we will answer, but we can come into your dream world. Of course, most humans will not hear our response, but it is the children who will likely be the first ones to see us. You are all aware of your third dimensional life, as that is the reality you have been living. However, the children will be the first ones to be able to believe that they are actually seeing our ships. Children are usually much more in touch with their fourth dimensional perceptions. They are the most aware of the reality of their imagination, and they are most inclined to remember the dream they had about a very tall, very nice being in a blue suite with light skin and blonde hair. Whereas adults may be frightened, children are more inclined to be excited. They are also the ones who will remember the dream they the other day about those nice people who talked to them about their starship and life on a different planet. They do not become afraid of our conversation. Instead, they can't wait to draw a picture of it or play starships with their friends. That is, they will do these things as their parents are not too frightened by another reality. I can barely handle this reality. They may say. How could I ever handle another reality too? It'll do. They know that many of them are, indeed, from another reality to which they return on a regular basis, but they forget. What if adults were as open and creative as children? What if adults could remember their own childhood experiences and the great dream of starships they had last night? What if humanity was able to be their true multidimensional self and Gaia was dearly loved and cared for by all her human residents? Now that is a great dream to have at night, as well as in the daytime. What if you were the master of your reality? What reality would you choose? Blessings from your galactic family.